Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Have you ever looked in the mirror and just wondered, am I really the same person I was 5, 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah. Or maybe not even the mirror, just that feeling inside.
Exactly. Your thoughts change, maybe your job, your whole outlook, or think about something you own, like an old bike you love.
Mm-hmm.
You've replaced the wheels, the seat, maybe even the frame over time. Is it still your original bike?
That's a great everyday example of it.
Well, today we're diving into a classic philosophical puzzle that gets right at that. The Ship of Theseus. It's all about identity, change, and what makes something, well, itself. Our main source today is a really interesting exploration called Dreams, Memories, and the Ship of Theseus, a mini-series on identity metaphysics.
And that ties in really well with the identity series from the Mindset Matrix podcast, too, which kind of explores how identity works, how it changes.
Right. So our mission today is to unpack this ancient paradox and, importantly, see how it actually helps us understand ourselves, our own changes, and even this crazy digital world we live in.
It's surprisingly relevant.
Okay, so let's get into it. The Ship of Theseus paradox, it's a real classic, isn't it? Puzzled people for ages.
It really has. So the basic idea for anyone who hasn't bumped into it before is imagine this famous ancient ship made of wood.
Okay, like a historical artifact.
Exactly. Revered. But over years and years of sailing, planks get worn out, damaged.
Makes sense. Wear and tear.
Right. So one by one, they replace every single plank. Eventually, you get to a point where none of the original wood is left in the ship.
Okay. I see where this is going.
So the big question is this ship, the one floating now with all new parts, still the same ship of Theseus?
My first instinct is maybe. It looks the same, does the same job.
But then there's a twist, and this is where it gets really tricky. What if someone carefully collected all those original planks they took off?
Oh.
And then they use those old original planks to build a second ship.
Oh, so now you've got two ships. One that kept sailing with new parts and one made of all the old parts.
Exactly. So which one is the real ship of Theseus? The repaired one? The rebuilt one? Neither. Both.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that definitely complicates things. That really forces you to ask what identity is. Is it the stuff it's made of? Is it the history? The name?
Precisely. And this paradox, according to our source material, kind of invites us to think about identity in maybe three main ways.
Okay, let's break those down.
The first one is probably what you thought of initially, material continuity. Is identity tied to the actual physical stuff?
Right. The atoms, the molecules, the planks.
Yeah. If that's your view, then you'd probably lean towards the ship built from the original planks being the true ship of Theseus. It's got the original matter.
But that feels a bit weird, doesn't it? Like if you replace just one screw on your phone, is it suddenly a different phone? Where do you draw the line?
That's the problem with strict material continuity. It makes identity very fragile. Any change, however small, could technically mean it's something new.
Okay, so what's the alternative?
Well, the second interpretation is functional continuity. Maybe identity isn't about this stuff, but about what the thing does, its role, its purpose, its structure, its pattern.
So for the ship, its identity comes from continuously sailing, being that ship, doing its job, regardless of the planks being swapped out.
Exactly. The ship that kept sailing maintained its role, its form, its function. Maybe that's the ship of Theseus because its purpose continued uninterrupted.
That makes a lot more sense for things like, well, organizations or even software that gets updated all the time. The code changes, but it's still the same app because it does the same thing.
It's a strong argument. But then, like you hinted earlier, what if the function changes? If the ship becomes a museum, does it lose its identity then? It's still not perfectly clear-cut.
True. It just shifts the problem slightly. So what's the third way?
The third idea is a bit more abstract. It's the possibility of an intangible essence.
Okay, like a soul, or something beyond the physical or the functional.
Sort of. Is there something else? Maybe a unique pattern, a history, a legacy, a certain quality that defines identity? Something you can't just point to as matter or function?
Like the idea of the Ship of Theseus, or the story associated with it.
Maybe. Or perhaps some emergent property that comes from the whole system working together. For a person, maybe it's consciousness or a continuous narrative thread. It's the hardest one to pin down. But it speaks to that feeling that identity is sometimes more than just parts or purpose.
That's fascinating. It feels like we often blend all three ideas in real life without even realizing it.
I think we absolutely do. Which brings us to the really interesting part.
Applying this to us, the ship of you.
Exactly. How does this ancient puzzle help us understand human identity? Because I mean, we change constantly, right?
Definitely. Physically, for starters?
Massively.
Yeah.
Our cells are always regenerating. The source material points out that over, days, years, most cells get replaced. By the time you're an adult, you're physically, materially, almost entirely different from when you were a child.
So, based on strict material continuity, we're definitely not the same person.
Nope. And it's not just physical. Our thoughts, beliefs, emotions, memories, they all shift and evolve dramatically over a lifetime.
Think about someone who's gone through something huge, like overcoming serious trauma, or maybe a major career change, or even just growing from a teenager to an adult.
Right. Are they still the same person?
Ah,
Or has someone new emerged from that experience? It's the Theseus paradox played out in a human life.
it really makes you question what that sameness even means for a person. Is it your past self, your present self?
Is identity tied to who you were or who you are now? The paradox helps us see it's not a simple yes or no. Identity seems to be this complex negotiation between continuity and transformation.
So, if it's not just the physical stuff and maybe not just our function, what holds us together? What gives us that sense of being the same person over time?
Well, one crucial element our source material really highlights is memory.
Ah, okay. That feels intuitive.
Yeah. Memory seems to act as a kind of anchor. Even though you're physically different and maybe think differently than you did at age 10,
Right.
if you remember your 10th birthday party or how you felt on the first day of school, that memory creates a direct link. It weaves a thread back to that past self.
So it's the narrative, the story we tell ourselves based on those memories.
Pretty much. It's that conscious recollection, that subjective feeling of continuity that bridges the gaps created by physical and psychological change. Without memory, like in cases of severe amnesia, that sense of a continuous self can really fragment.
Makes sense. And does purpose play a similar role?
It seems to. The source suggests that having an ongoing purpose, a long-term goal or mission that you carry through different life stages, can also act as an anchor. It provides a consistent thread, a reason that connects your past actions to your present ones.
Okay, so memory and purpose are like maybe the enduring form or narrative of our personal ship, even as the planks change.
That's a good way to put it. They provide coherence over time.
Now let's jump to today. Because this ancient idea feels incredibly relevant in our, tech-saturated world, how does the Ship of Theseus show up in the digital age?
Oh, it's everywhere. Think about artificial intelligence.
Okay, AI systems. They learn, they update.
Constantly. Their algorithms are rewritten, their data sets grow and change, they develop behaviors the original creators didn't even plan. So is the AI today the same AI it was 6 months ago?
Its function might be similar, but its mind or code could be totally different.
Exactly. Does its identity lie in the original code, its current function? Or maybe some emergent intangible intelligence? It's the paradox all over again.
And what about us online, our digital selves?
Perfect example. Our online profiles, avatars, the accounts we use, they change all the time. New pictures, different bios, we follow new people, interact in different ways.
Yeah, my profile on a professional site is definitely not the same as my old gaming form avatar from years ago.
Right. So is each update creating a new digital you? Or is there some core you that persists across all these different platforms and changes?
Is it functional continuity? Like it's my account performing the function of representing me online.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's material tied to your email address or login. Or maybe it's more intangible, your consistent online voice or personality. This whole paradox gives us a framework to even ask those questions about digital identity, which is becoming increasingly important.
It really does. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway from revisiting the Ship of Theseus?
I think the main thing is that identity, whether it's a ship, a person, or an AI, isn't this fixed, static thing we often imagine it to be.
It's more fluid.
Much more fluid. It's a dynamic process, an ongoing interplay between what stays the same and what changes. It's constantly becoming.
So maybe the feeling of continuity, that sense of sameness, is something we actively create through memory, narrative, and purpose.
That seems to be a key insight from the sources, yes. Our perception, our story of who we are might be just as important, if not more so, than the physical bits and pieces. We're kind of always rebuilding our own ship, plank by plank, while telling ourselves it's still the same vessel.
And maybe, like the Mindset Matrix series touches on, it's less about clinging to an old definition and more about embracing the whole evolving thing, accepting all the new planks alongside the memory of the old ones.
Exactly. It encourages a more nuanced view. We can look at our own growth, the changes in others, even the evolution of technology, not as loss of identity, but as part of its ongoing creation. It invites empathy for transformation.
So, a final thought for everyone listening. Think about your own ship of Theseus. What parts of you feel like they're changing right now? What feels constant?
Yeah, what are the memories, the purposes, the functions, or maybe that intangible core that makes you feel like you, even as everything shifts?
It's a deep question, but a fascinating one to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.